we're back from Blade Show, dude. You look very tired, man. Like, maybe make sure to smile a little bit. You know, we're back, we're excited, we got a ton of good gear. It's gonna be a very good...
Were you just talking to that?
This is awkward.
Yeah. Were you just talking to the poster version of me?
Dude, it looks identical. The only weird thing about it is that it's not holding a reverse shocker, so...
Oh, and it doesn't talk back.
I know, but that's a perfect relationship.
Well, we just got back from Blade Show Texas 2025, and that was one of the craziest Blade shows I've ever been to for a number of reasons. Not as many people as Blade Show Atlanta, not as many vendors, but very, very busy for me because that was the first show I've been to as a new knife designer of not one design, but two. There's a second one that I'll show you towards the end of the video because I got a prototype right before the show. So here is all of the cool stuff I saw at the show that I decided to snatch up and bring back and show to you guys. So with that said, let's do the damn thing. And since we're on the subject of Blade Show, it's really easy to walk into an event like that with all these new makers and fancy new gear and not want to spend cash like a fiend. It's best to enter an event like that with a budget in mind, and thankfully, our sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money, can help. Rocket Money is basically like your personal financial command center. It can help track all of your subscriptions. It can help negotiate lowering your bills for you. It can help you build savings. It can also help you build a budget that works for you. And it's all in one very easy to use app. I personally came across Rocket Money back in my tech YouTube days, a long time ago now, and I've continued using them ever since. One of the coolest features of Rocket Money is its ability to organize all of your subscriptions for you. And if, like me, you've checked a bank statement and realized that you have a subscription that you haven't used in years, Rocket Money can also help with that because it can go in and cancel many of those subscriptions for you in just a couple of taps. Rocket Money can also help you strategically save for one of those grails that you've been eyeing for years, or if you'd rather have a monthly budget and work in a little fun money for an event like Blade Show, it can help you do that too. Between running multiple businesses and having way too many accounts, if I wasn't using Rocket Money, I would probably lose track of a lot more. It keeps everything in one place, and most importantly, make sure that I'm not paying for subscriptions that I'm not using. To save more and spend less and join over 5 million people already using Rocket Money, just go to rocketmoney.com/bestmedc or hit the link in the description down below to get started for free. And once again, I want to thank Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. We'll start with just a couple of little piddly things. First up, this came out a couple of weeks ago. This is from bigidesign, TPT slide, one of my favorite tools ever. But they had a lot of complaints about being able to blade swap. Changing the blades in it is done like that on a normal TPT slide, but this one has this little gate or door which opens it for you, and you can slide a new blade in very, very easily and close that door when it's done. It's called the Easy Swap. That's it. That's the only difference between this and a normal TPT slide. It makes blade swapping much easier, even though I never really had a problem with it to begin with, but I got a lot of complaints about blade swapping the TPT slide. So they dropped these a few weeks ago. They had some at Blade Show Texas, and I grabbed one so I could show you the new Easy Swap mechanism on a TPT slide. And Liam Hoffman and Hoffman Blade Blacksmithing was there. They make axes and handles, and there's a couple of different businesses now. They are semi-local. They're over in Roan Mountain, which is just over the line in Tennessee. And we're gonna probably go there and do something with them. But I grabbed this because it was really cool. And this is a little bottle opener keychain made by Lynch Northwest. So we're having like this merging of two different worlds in this cool little axe keychain. I don't know if I'll ever put it on my keys, but it's still cool to have around. I'll probably just like hang it on the wall.
You know what you need on your keys? More stuff. Yeah,
I know,
buddy.
You know what? You know what? Just for you.
How to minimize your key
I got the perfect key setup, and it's right here.
Awful, dude.
It's getting bad.
Like a janitor walking down the hallway.
It's getting bad. It's getting bad. All right, and this is a Hank from Renegade Provisions Co. You guys probably are familiar with some of his knife designs, but this was won by me at Bob's dinner. It was a fun time. Ricky and Bob are really good friends. Bob is also now a friend of mine, but he does this drawing where a whole bunch of people get a ticket, and I won a Hank. Really nice, like wool Hank too. Getting into some of the first pieces of gear, we have this right here. We actually grabbed these before we went to Blade Show. We stopped in Chattanooga, and I slept in Pete's pirate ship even more.
Another time.
I think I'm at 5 nights now in the pirate ship. I have the record.
You know,
And nobody
no
else
big
has slept in it, so I win.
deal. No big deal.
This is one of their USA-made bronze Pocket Pros that they launched recently. I think they're still in stock, or if they're not, they're going to be restocked. They have more on the way, but really, really nice American-made Pocket Pro, which is one of my favorite pens from Big Eye. So here is a production Pocket Pro, and this is the American. So I told you it was more lines.
Yeah, you're right. So there's less lines, but it's 13 of them.
Yeah, there's 13 lines for the original 13 states. Or it's the
13 stripes on the flag.
well, that's from the original 13 states. But yeah, it's the stripes on the flag. So there's that. And then we have this. This is a Tie 2 Designs tie scribe collaboration with Lucas Burnley with his little flower logo. Pretty sick. Mike Bond's a cool guy. Luke Burnley is a really cool guy. And now I have a pen. I love these tie scribes. If you've never had one, they're extremely fidgety because they're all magnetic. But this right here, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of tinker and play with this thing. But if you're not familiar with these, one of the reasons it's called the tie scribe, and the reason it doesn't have this like tip that goes all the way down to the tip of the refill is so...
Side quest.
A little side quest. I just remember seeing this earlier. If you are drawing and using a ruler or slide or something like this, you can get right up against it, one, for more accurate measurements and drawing, but you're not going to ruin the side of your pen because it's just going to scratch up the refill.
Cool.
The more you know. Now you know.
Thank you.
Did you even know that?
It's also fun when you drop the cap in between your seat in the truck.
There is that when you're like twirling this thing around and it goes flying and then it just sticks to stuff under your seat in your car and you can't find it for a while.
So good.
Yeah, well.
Good work.
I got nothing to say. All right, so now flashlights. We actually made a little detour to Tactile before the show because we were in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We drove, and there were other reasons we needed to go visit them, but one of them, or one of the things we came away with, rather, is this right here. And I'm guessing that this is an Apollo. It's very much like their flashlight that they already have out, but this is made out of aluminum, and they're still in the prototype phase, so I don't have any information beyond this. It's a prototype. It has 3 modes, basically a moonlight, medium, high, and it is a clicky switch. I can't give you much more information than that. But we have this. This is the Groovy from CWF, and it's just like a much bigger brother to that. I think it was the last Blade Show Texas. You came home with this for me. Maybe this was Blade Show Atlanta. I don't remember.
It was Mini Arcadian. I came home with 2 Mini Arcadians.
Okay, well, this is effectively an Arcadian, but it's called Groovy because it has the mill lines in it. All right, and there's different patterns and stuff and different finishes, but Groovy is just a fancier Arcadian, right? So the Arcadian would look like this, but just taller. This is really the same flashlight, just triple optic or triple LED and shorter, so minimized. This one is like the flagship, I guess. So these are really, really cool. Charles said that people have been asking for the Groovy to come back for a long time, and he finally appeased. So Groovies are back, baby. If you are not familiar with Paladin 33, you should be. Josh Wee makes really awesome bags, and he also started making these padded knife cases, which are very cool. This one is in the, oh God, what does he call it?
Oh, I don't remember.
Poppy something.
Yeah, with a little, like, with guns and other stuff on it.
It's like a poppy pattern, but that has guns. I cannot, Poppy of Freedom or something like that?
Possibly.
I think
Sounds about right.
But you have 3 knife slots on either side. They do not interface with one another, so your pocket clips aren't even going to touch. And you have a larger pocket in the back side of both for like a notebook or even a fixed blade or something to that degree. It's just a gear holder. It's a pouch that you can organize your stuff in and bring with you. You could even slide a watch down in there if you really wanted to, but they're not super padded. And you do have a pin slot on either side down here. I forgot about that. But you can put a pin right there. So you can have 3 knives, 2 pins, 3 more knives, and then some larger gear in the back. He also tossed a couple of these to me because we have a few of his bags. We also are working with him on some bags, but just some gear organizers that have rough hook and loop on the back, and then a zip pouch, a mesh zip pouch with the same. So he's got a lot of accessories he's coming out with. He's always working on something. And one of the most recent projects is this right here, which I'm very excited for. we don't have an official name for this yet because they're not launched. We have a whole bunch of them on the table over here. But this is the Carry Commission exclusive belt pouch. So this has a green and brown wax canvas and these enormous and badass brass zippers. They're YKK. It's all made in America. It's all sourced in America. And this thing is sick. So I will say, in pictures, I was like, whoa, those zippers are maybe a little too big for that bag. And even in video, I'm sure it probably comes across that way. In person, I freaking love this thing. It's a statement. Like, Ricky was wearing his around. Did you get stopped and asked about it some?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I did too at Blade. I didn't carry it the whole time because I needed a little bit more room, but I got stopped a good bit to answer some questions about this bag and why the zippers were so damn big. And my answer for that is... What?
I was like, we already have people emailing about them.
Yeah, my answer for why the zippers are so damn big is because it's sick. They look awesome, they feel awesome, and they break in. So when you first get the bag, actually, let's grab a fresh one.
Side quest.
Field trip. Well, I think this is important because people are going to ask about it. So when you first get one of these bags, listen to the zipper. It's got this, it catches a little bit, it's a little more rough. This one, which I used for a day, it's already like
smooth.
This one doesn't want to, so the brass kind of like deburrs itself, I guess is the best way to put that, and it starts breaking in, and man, give it like a week of carrying this thing. There you have it. These should be out next week.
Think so.
I think so, on Carry Commission. We have some. We don't have a ton of them, but if you guys like them, we'll get more. So for me, the obvious highlight of the show as far as folders go is the Klingman, right? It was the first show that I went to that the Klingman was technically officially out. So for me, this was the highlight. Not to be super biased or whatever. It's just, it's important to me. This was my first knife design. It's out and it's sold out in a lot of places, which is awesome. They sold out at Blade Show very quickly. Thank you guys. Thank you to anybody who's bought one. But this isn't about the Klingman. I already had one. I didn't get a new one. In fact, I was hoping that I could get a Klingman to give to Ricky and a couple of friends at Blade Show. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. I ended up giving away my personal Klingmans. I only have this one and my prototype. That's it. All the others I've given away. So anyway, these are the folders that piqued my interest the most, and I picked up at Blade Show, Texas. I'm sure there was a lot of stuff, but I'm going to be completely honest. This was a very busy show. I didn't have a lot of time to go see things, so the few things I did see, you know, I tried to make it worth my time. So going to Tactile first, we'll start here. We went to Tactile the day before Blade Show, Texas, and I saw these in their QC room, and Michael pulled one out and let me handle it for a second, and I was like, I'll be honest with you, Michael, I've never been super interested in the Archer. This one, instant, I was like, I have to have that Archer. And it's because it has the new ridged texture. So they started this, I said to Michael even that it feels more like a pinstripe. It looks like a pinstripe suit. And it just looks sick. And then you have these vintage micarta inlays. It looks like in-cut micarta on the front and the back. You have bronze accents. It's like the most me Archer that's happened to be made, or what?
What? That happened? That was made. That's it.
Yeah. It's the most me Archer that's been made. But probably the most sick thing about this knife is the finish on the blade. I cannot convey to you how smooth it is. It feels like glass. Like, it's wild. It feels like silk. They're doing some really cool stuff. We got to tour the facility and see all the processes and steps. They've really stepped it up. And this knife right here, even though I was not super into the Archer before, this one piqued my interest. I had to have it. So I snagged that from the show. Okay, so I didn't know about Dead Reckoning until after getting the Machine-Wise Sonora. That knife at the time, to my knowledge, was the only integral button lock made in America, period. And I don't even know if you have to say made in America. I think there are only 3, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Right? There's Dead Reckoning, there is Machine-Wise, and now Grimsmo has a integral button lock that has finally come out. So at the time that I had the Machine-Wise, there was really only 2. This and that. And I'd never been able to get my hands on a Dead Reckoning, but they were there. And I ran into them, really cool guys. We had a great conversation about how tired we are. It was good.
It's real.
It was very real. But they have some really cool stuff going on. Ricky is not a fan of the shape of this knife.
Nah.
Right? I am. You know what this makes me think of? And I don't know if it's in the drawer here.
I mean, I like their stuff. It's just, I don't know. There's something about this blade shape or this handle shape that doesn't do it for me.
Where is what this kind of reminds me of? But like if this were modernized and brought into the 21st century with a button lock.
Okay.
It reminds me of a PM2 a lot. Not that they're like identical in shape or anything other than the handles have very similar ergos. They're really like thin, slicey blades. It's not super thin. This is a pretty thick blade, but slicey, and it just feels like a modernized PM2, I guess, is the way to put that. But there's a really interesting thing about these Dauntless knives. And one of the owners...
Dead Reckoning.
Fuck!
Dead Reckoning, Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning. And by the way, this is the Ridgeback. I do remember that. Dead Reckoning. We'll get to Dauntless in a minute.
Yep.
But there is something that one of the owners was showing me, because I kept doing this when I was trying to, like when I was handling the knives. Right there. Push the button and nothing happens. But if I take my finger off the pivot, so here's what's happening here. If you break that detent and hold the pivot,
wow,
the whole pivot system rotates together. So I'm not sure if they would like keyhole that pivot and it keyholes into the blade, much like you have a captive pivot on a scale side. I think it's captive inside the blade. I'm not sure. I'm sure that taking it apart is not fun, and I'm sure there's a reason for doing that. But the action on this thing is like ridiculous. It's just as good as that machine-wise. But what we mean by integral, if you're not aware, this handle is all one piece. So this is machined out of a solid piece of titanium, and then the blade is just set into that with the pivot. It's pretty freaking great, and I think that's a reversible clip.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It looks like it. So left-hand friendly, although I have one big critique of this knife, and it's that the button is not inset. I think the button needs to be inset a little bit, because if I'm trying to use this left-handed, watch, I'll flick it open.
Good work. It works perfectly.
Well,
I see what I mean.
The button was pressed by my finger.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was, see? It looked like it was staying, but it wasn't. So, and it's easy to just...
Yeah, I see.
So you have to do that, and I don't know. I think the button should be a little inset, personally. Although it does make it really fidgety.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something about the handle shape that's just like not my jam. The blade shape is wicked cool.
I mean, I like all of it.
Yeah.
I think this thing is sick. So back to the folders, we have the Bougie Banter, which is very different from the Banter, right? It's thinner. It's got actually a different blade shape. The Banter is a little more like spear, right? So it's got this almost like clip, but it's rounded. Yeah, so it's got a little different shape, skinnier, and honestly, I like it a lot. I think the Bougie Banter is really sick. I tried to pick one of these up in Pennsylvania, and I didn't. And the first thing that happened when I got to Blade Show this year was Seth's like, hey, I held one back for you because the one you wanted got sold. So I think it's sick, even though I'm not much of a blue accent kind of guy. This knife is really, really nice. I personally might like take all this out and re-anodize it.
Yeah, make it bronze.
Bronze, yeah,
buddy.
And then a few weeks ago, there was another release from our friends on YouTube, DBK or Dutch Bushcraft Knives, and this is the Nightblade. Kind of a similar design. The reason this is similar to this is the exact same reason that my design was similar to the Wicket. I like this style blade. And I would say that Tom kind of turned me onto that, but I've had other knives that are very similar to the Wicket. So I designed something that was what I like, but I changed some things. I made some things different the way I wanted them to be, because the Wicket, I really like a Wicket. I've been singing its praises for 2 years now. But all that's to say is we are all taking things that inspire us and putting them into the designs of the knives that we are putting out. And when you have something that is a very basic shape, like a Banter, it's hard not to have stuff that's very similar, right? This is a very simple design on purpose. Ben has said a million times he designed this to be very basic to appeal to everybody, right? That's the whole point. It's unobtrusive. It's just simple, and that's what a lot of people want. This is also just simple, just like this knife. They're both simple. But a lot of the flack that people were giving DBK over this was that there's no thumb studs. People think you need thumb studs. You don't. But the way that this was intended to be opened is actually just by flicking it, just like the Redemption CRKT designed by Ken Onion, and just like the button lock Elementum. You push the button and flick it open. Now, they have different Elementums now that, you know, have thumb studs or whatever. What does the crossbar lock XL Elementum have? I don't even know.
I don't remember, to be honest.
I don't think it's thumb studs. It's probably a flipper tab or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. You don't need it, right? Hell, half the people are just going to sit here and do this anyway.
That's what I did at the Civivi booth for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you don't... The flack they're getting is unwarranted, completely. Yeah. Is it similar to some other knives? Sure. It's bound to happen. But I think this thing is unique enough in its own thing. I love the gold accents. The black and gold is so sick. They nailed it, honestly, and I think the flack they're getting and it being called like a
bug out.
Out knockoff or what is all like, this looks nothing like a bug out. It's a drop point bar knife with a crossbar lock. Like,
you know, I think it's what happened to Ben with the Sendy, right? Like you can look at pictures and videos and think that it's identical, and then you handle it and you're like, oh, you know what? It's different.
It is different.
Yeah.
It's totally different. And they feel different in the hand. This has a milled clip. This is a bent clip. Like, are they similar? Sure. Are they both drop points with a crossbar lock? Sure. But they have their own flair. And we have so many knife designs out there that it is impossible to not have similarities with some other design. In fact, I can't even remember what comment section it was in. Somebody talking about the Klingman saying I ripped off artisan cutlery something.
Yeah.
And I looked it up. They look nothing alike other than the fact that they have G10 handles. That's it. Like liner lock with G10 handles. That's it.
Yeah.
So I like the Nightblade.
Yeah.
I do.
I think you're allowed to not like stuff and not be a dick about it.
Yeah, you don't have to shit on something because it's not your style.
Yeah.
There are a lot of knives that I cross or that come here even Ricky brings in that aren't my thing, and I'm just like, yeah, not for me.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. But anyway, I think both of these knives are really cool. They're made by friends of ours, and I wish both of them, all three of them, technically,
Good work.
great success in knife design world.
That was so nice of you, man.
I can be nice from time to time, just not to you.
Just like the shirt, be less dumb.
Yeah, that's actually what I have to say to that. If you said any of that stuff about the Nightblade, read my shirt.
Hell yeah.
And that's a great segue into Fixed Blades.
Yeah.
Our buddy Tim Kell was at the show. His family is awesome. The whole crew from TP. The whole crew from T-Kell are great people. It's T-Kell DP. My brain's not fully back yet. It's halfway in Dallas, or halfway to Dallas. This is the first ever knife design from Tim.
It's actually his third, from what he told me. It's one of the first 3 knife designs he ever did.
Man said, first design I ever made, and he pulled out this knife.
It's because you don't ask the right questions,
Hey, Tim,
brother.
Tim, be less dumb. How about that? Signed by you. So this is the DP1, and it comes with the ability to carry it as a neck knife. It also comes with this, and we put it on the DCC clip because that's what I do. It also came in this nice pouch. He switched to these pouches recently. I think that's a super nice touch. It's nicer than like a standard taco, and it can be used as a standalone pouch on its own. And it comes with a patch.
Oh, I didn't get a patch. Damn.
Anyway, I do not know the blade steel on this, but I'm sure it's on his website. We obviously went through a lot of stuff, so specs are not something we can focus on too much when we're moving as fast as we were. But very small knife, very wickety, right?
Yeah.
And just going back to the designs, I'm pretty sure. Do I not have a wicket here?
I don't think you do. I don't remember seeing a wicket. Oh, it's because it's in that sheath.
Very wickety, right? Like, we're not sitting here blaming. Technically, if we were going to blame somebody for copying somebody, I think this predates this.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah.
By probably a couple of years, I would think.
Yeah, I think so, but it doesn't matter. You know why? Because at that dinner where Bob invited us all out, Tom brought a wicket for Tim.
Yep.
Right? Like, guys, this has been a thing since I was in the tech space. Like, people watching videos and buying knives from one person or another, they think that we're all like competitors and like out to get each other and cutthroat. And honestly, we're all friends. We were in the tech space. We're all friends now. Tim and Tom are good friends, and they probably shouldn't be left in the room together for very long because they are like both assholes. No, I love them both. But this knife is very wickety, which is one of the reasons I like it a lot. And it comes with a Kydex sheath. But let's tell about the story a little bit. This was, as I said, one of Tim's first designs, but I think it was his father-in-law that really, really loved this knife. It's his father-in-law's favorite knife, and he is ill. I cannot remember with what. Is it a brain tumor?
Yes.
I think it is a brain tumor or brain cancer. I'm not 100% sure, but he's not doing very well, so they made a run of these to, you know, honor him. His name is Donald Pace, so I think that's really, really cool. I think the knife is great, and I don't know much about when they'll be available, but we will link to it, and if they are, grab one. All right, we're gonna be quick about LT because these are not EDC knives, but we'll start with this, I guess. This is the like Mac Daddy bushcraft knife, and I've never had one. I've owned many LT Wright knives. We have a box of LT Wright knives there that we're gonna restock on Carry Commission very soon, but I felt like I had to get this. This is the Genesis, and this is like their flagship bushcraft knife model. It's got the scalloped like thumb finger grooves right there at the handle, Scandi grind, A2 blade steel. So it is a tool steel, it will patina, this thing will look really nice. Comes in this drop sheath, and I also threw in a ferro rod to match. It's not a perfect match, but it's close enough. I love LT. I love the whole crew there. They're great people. They make great knives. We got another one we'll show you in just a second. But yeah, I feel like I had to have an OD green brass pin Genesis. So they had one on the table. I snagged it. I also went to LT because he gave a friend of mine a knife at Georgia Bushcraft. And I saw that knife get handed over, and I was like, whoa, 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 I want one of those. So I tried to go buy this, and LT would not. He told me my money was no good. That's why I went back when he wasn't there to buy this, because I wanted to buy a knife. But a meat slicer. So this is part of their Wild Harvest signature collections, which they made with a professional chef, I believe. I can't remember who it is, but
I don't remember either.
This is a meat slicer. Obviously, I cook a lot of meat, and I wanted a nice, thin meat slicer. The holes help the meat not stick to the knife. So, and that's his signature, whoever the guy is. I can't remember his name. But thank you, LT and Elaine and the whole crew. I love LT so much. Great people. Like, literally some of the nicest people on the planet. So, thank you guys so much. But they're not just nice people. They make some badass stuff. And this, in my opinion, was one of the coolest things from all of Blade Show Texas. And this is from Jack Wolf, but it was made by LT. So Jack Wolf, LT Wright, collaboration. This is the Vampire Hunter, like a little boot knife style. It does come with this pocket sheath from Tailored by Cortez, so it's like killer combo. Like all of it is so sick. I think I said it, but Magna Cut steel, and this handle, copper pins and a blue...
It's Blue Maple Valley Rich Light, if I remember correctly.
Blue Maple Valley Rich Light.
I think.
I got this one because I wanted one of them. The red one wasn't my thing. This one was sort of my thing, but there were two that were like, oh, they were beautiful. There was a bone-handled one, a dyed bone, and then there was an ironwood, a desert ironwood. So sick. I will have one of those one day. But I got one of these because there weren't many of any of them. And it was one of the coolest things at the show, bar none. Ricky got one just like this. So, Vampire Hunter. Sorry you can't get one. Somebody came up to me at the show and they said, you know, I love your channel, but you know what I hate more than anything? How many times you're like, hey, look at this really cool thing, and you can't buy it. I don't do that on purpose. I promise. It's just it's just the industry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Something you can get that is also really sick is this right here. This is the Daily Knives AK4. This is a scaled up version of the AK1, effectively, which I also got at a Blade show. This is scaled up and beefed up to be more of like an outdoor knife. This is, honestly, if I were to classify it like a gentleman's fixed blade, honestly, this is thin, slicey, could be a little more scary, I guess, but it's more robust. It feels, they classify this as more of an outdoor knife. It does come with a Kydex sheath. You can opt for this DP steel and leather sheath for it as well. But one of the cooler things that they do with this, same thing with the others, you mix and match your own thing. You buy each piece individually from their website. So you buy this blade, and then you have to buy the handles, and if you want those inlays, you buy those inlays. You have to buy all of it separately, but they sell these skeletonized G10 handles for it as well. They also sell skeletonized titanium handles for it, which also look really cool. Let me grab a screwdriver so you can have these titanium handles with these inlays, which is really neat, or a totally skeletonized knife, which is big and still very lightweight. I think if I were doing a lot of using my knife, like a lot of cutting, I'd prefer this because your hand kind of goes into that.
Yeah.
And over time, that'll be a hot spot, like right here and here. But for lightweight carry and stuff, yeah, it looks cool, feels cool. I like that a lot. And I love that you can just kind of customize your knife whenever you feel like it, directly from the maker. You can buy the knife and then just continue to customize. This one is an Alex Kremer regrind, so they're made by Boker, but this is a regrind, just like my other one.
Yeah, he does some fantastic stuff.
And it just thins out the blade a little bit. Full flat grind, like
cool as hell.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so next up we have Auxiliary Manufacturing. Ricky turned me onto them with a pocket buoy, and Michael actually sent me a pocket buoy, and I'll be completely honest, it wasn't my jam. Ricky has a collaboration with him coming up. That one's a little more my jam, but looking at what he had on his table, this is my jam. So again, tailored by Cortez Sheath. It has a built-in ulti clip on it, and then you have this like nice brown micarta with a blue pin, blue lanyard hole, and a matching blue lanyard. I don't know the blade steel in this. I'm sure there's a COA in the box, but this is called the Runt XL.
AEBL?
I'm not 100% sure. Oh, here we go. Yeah, AEBL, Runt XL micarta, and then there is a Kydex sheath that I think this is additional. It comes with this Kydex sheath from Auxiliary, which has crazy retention.
Yeah.
Very similar to this, right? Like different blade shapes and stuff, but just in terms of like, look at that. I mean, just thin, slicey EDC fixed blade. Also from our time talking with the Big Eye guys, we stopped by and grabbed one of these. I stole it, actually. I went back into the warehouse and stole it. They don't even know I have it. Also, screw Jeremy. He cut his beard off. What a loser.
Dude, he
looks way better.
Handsome as hell with that new beard,
I kept telling him he looked metro as fuck. He loves that. He loves it. Okay, so this is the Dino, made in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's made in-house by Mac, the same guy that made the American-made Lookouts and several other things for Big Eye. He makes some really cool stuff. He's a good knife maker, but he is like their head genius over there. So this is a collaboration between Exclusive and Jeremy and Mac, and they came up with this design. And it's pretty basic in how it looks, but when you get this thing in the hand, it actually feels really freaking good in the hand. The contouring is very minimal, but it feels great. This little slope down towards the blade, like really good. The sheath is probably my least favorite thing because I just don't like pancake sheaths. I'm a taco sheath kind of guy, but you do get several mounting options from straight from them. So you have pull the dot loops as well as an ulti clip that you can mount to it as well. So you can set this up however you want. If you're going to use pull the dots, I think a wider sheath probably benefits you a little better because a thin sheath can make it kind of flop around on the belt a little more. So I get it. It's another me thing. There is this blackout one, obviously, Nitro V Steel. And if you're more of a micarta fan, there is an OD micarta option with the same black blade. And they are tumbled, so they've got some imperfections on purpose. That was a request from Jeremy. So he wanted things to look like worn and beat up straight from the factory. He's like, you know what? If you're going to be afraid to use it, I'm going to beat it up and then sell it to you. What a guy. What a guy. Like, man. Looks better than your beard. I'm going to knock this one out real quick because I technically did not buy this at Blade Show, Texas. I bought it from a friend, Jonathan Burton, a few weeks ago. And he was like, just pick it up when you come stay with me. We stayed at his house. So I bought this from him. This is a pretty rare Winkler that Ricky is making a face right now because he wants it. I wanted it the first time I ever saw it from JB. This is the 2023 Winkler. Like, oh man, That's the best EDC fixed blade from Winkler ever.
Honestly?
Ever.
Nah, it doesn't even look that good, truthfully.
It's thick. It is thick.
Dude.
It's not quite 1/4 inch stock, but it's pretty thick. Winkler Knives 2023. Dude, this thing's pretty sick. And then the sheath, this is technically meant to be more of a belt carry, like a in waistband belt, I guess, right? So that goes inside your belt. I will be taking all of this off and just putting an ulti on it because their sheaths, honestly, no one does a Kydex sheath better than Winkler.
True.
Nobody. It's leather on the outside. It's leather on the inside.
It's like felt on the inside.
No, this one's like...
Oh, is that one
It's just rough out leather.
Nice.
Yeah, so when you put this knife in here... Oh, man. Brother. It's like you're putting your knife to bed.
Yes.
Right? Tucking it in. It's
right.
so nice. All right, here's something, I don't know if we can call this a fixed blade. Like, it's fixed in that it doesn't fold, but it has...
Like
It's not fixed, technically. It's fixed with screws.
I don't know.
So this is the Vero Engineering Shift. They are new. It was the first time he ever showed them at the show. So titanium body, titanium hardware, stonewash finish, Nitro V, Generation 1. First run, 009.
Nice.
And this is what it is. So you have a titanium handle with screws, and then you can take... Daddy Joseph tightened that good. I watched him swap the blades.
Dude, he's been getting buff. You see how many awards he's winning? He has to carry all those around. So
he told me he stopped lifting weights.
I don't. He grabbed my shoulder pretty hard on that rail, dude. My shoulder's kind of sore.
Still,
yeah.
A week later.
Man.
All right, so this can just pop out, and you could have a spare. Like I think he said they're selling the blades as a set of 3.
I think
so you can use it until the blade's dull. Swap a new blade in, and then you can sharpen them all at once if you want. But you can take your blade out and swap in something different. You could have something that's more of a Warncliffe or a drop point or whatever, you know? So you buy one knife and you could have whatever blade you want. But right now, that's the only thing available. The only problem I see with that is you've got this Kydex sheath that is made to this blade shape, right? So I think he was talking about doing more of an ambi style sheath that would not limit your blade options. Or if you buy additional blades, you'd have to just get a sheath with it.
Yeah.
I guess. I think that concept is really neat, being able to just swap out a blade. And it's not disposable. They're like semi-disposable, right? Like you could use it until it's really, truly beat up and then put another one on it. Or, you know, sharpen them all at the same time. Whatever. There's many ways you could go about it. It's just a newer concept that we haven't really seen in the fixed blade style. There's some cool stuff like brewing that I can't go into detail on just yet, but if you want like the first little glimpse of that, you got the Vero Engineering Shift. This is, according to the judges at Blade Show Texas, the best EDC fixed blade that was there. I mean, I have my own things to say about that because I think mine was entered alongside it, but I didn't win. But that's okay. It's okay. I don't care.
Wait. You said you have a fixed blade?
I didn't say that. Did I say that?
I don't know. That's what I thought.
Anyway, this is Dauntless Manufacturing, and this is their model called the Moss. And it's really cool. It's actually a super comfortable fixed blade. They're doing a lot of that micro contouring too, like just a little bit of contouring. And they've got this really textured micarta, and it's textured differently here than it is here. It feels really nice in hand. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. And the coolest thing is that these guys are like 40 minutes down the road from us. I learned that like 2 months ago. So I finally got to meet these guys and tell them like, hey, let's come down there and do some cool things together. So their Moss is now an award winning. They won 2 awards, this one and one other knife of theirs. But yeah, really sick stuff. This is AEBL, Dauntless Manufacturing. There's a lot of different handle options, blade options, and the sheath. The sheath is probably my least favorite thing about it. It's cool in that you have the ability to just like move this thing wherever you want, but you could technically go down with it.
Yeah. I'm
just not sure how you would get in there and hold that still. Either way, it's not a Kydex sheath, I don't think.
3D printed?
It's not 3D printed. It's almost like a plastic, like a injection molding.
Injection molded, yeah.
Almost. I'm not sure. It looks a little different, but the retention's good on it. Like,
I like that.
Snaps in. It's good in the pocket. Wait, don't look at this. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. Rides real deep in the pocket. I like it.
Nice.
But that is the Dauntless Moss. Congrats to them. Go check out Dauntless Manufacturing. That brings us to the final thing, which is my fixed blade, which lost.
Oh,
no, I don't know what it was. I don't know where it was entered. I don't know. I don't know what category it was entered into. But this is a design I've been working on and haven't said much about publicly until now. I got my hands on the first prototype when we went to Tactile, and that was this one right here. And I'm very pleased with it. So this is the Red Hawk from Tactile Knife Co. And it'll be Magna Cut steel. It's not 100% finished. They've got some changes that we want to make, but not many. Very, very subtle changes. And the configurations will be finalized soon, but I think we know what they are. I think it's this one, which is a black G10 and FDE Cerakote. We have a black, not G10, black micarta with FDE Cerakote, black micarta with a black Cerakote. And then finally, there will be a stonewash version with natural micarta. Nice. There is a black Rich Light handle floating around, which I think looked really good on the FDE, but it made it look like really tactical. It's kind of got that same overall curve to it, like the Klingman. I wanted a fixed blade that had that curve feature, and a belly and a reverse tanto in a really slicey blade. So that's what led to this, right? We have just subtle, very subtle contouring right in here and a little bit back in here. And then we have the scallops on the end of the handle for a pinch grip. It's very comfortable. It's very comfortable. And this is one thing I really liked about working with Tactile. Matt, who was like the head machinist over there, we were going back and forth over a couple of things, and I was like, the 3D prints, we have 3D prints, a whole bunch of them, but I'll grab one of them. This is the final 3D print. I was like, man, this right here is just sharp. And I know this is filament, and it's probably not exactly how it will be, but can we like just knock the edges off right here so it's not sharp? And he was like, oh yeah. And instead of just like rounding the edge there, he put this little facet on, which is a really small detail, but honestly,
cool as hell.
Really cool. I love it. So yeah, being able to just kind of go back and forth over things. They would send me an STL, I'd print it and be like, I don't like this or that. And we came up with this and freaking love it. They knocked it out of the park. I wouldn't have put jimping on the spine because I'm, a ferro rod kind of guy, but the jimping, I think they nailed it because it starts wide and just gets more and more subtle. It just kind of fades into the spine of the blade. Honestly, tiny little details, this thing is sick. They're just dialing it in to finalize a few of those details, and I'm told price will be sub $250 and they'll be out in the next 2 months. So
crazy. And
it will come with a Taco Kydex that they're making in-house. Everything is in-house, right? Cerakote's in-house, the micarta, everything is in-house. They're just sourcing materials except for this. This will be an aftermarket option for the sheath from Chattanooga Leatherworks, and honestly, this combo is
baller.
It is. It's really nice. I've not carried the black one yet, but just
yeah, looks great, dude.
That's my second knife design.
Good work, man. Congrats.
Thanks, man.
That's awesome.
Let me know what you guys think about, well, all of this. What's your favorite thing that we talked about today? But also let me know what you think about the Red Hawk. I'm super pumped on it. Obviously, it's coming really close to the launch of my first knife, which not ideal in terms of like spacing things out and everything, but honestly, I couldn't be happier right now. The reception of this at Blade Show was great. The reception of the Klingman's awesome. I can't thank you guys enough, but I do want to know, what are your thoughts on the Red Hawk and everything else, but also the Red Hawk?
But first the Red Hawk, then everything else.
All right, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We will get back to more storytelling, fun, adventure-breaking things very, very soon. We just felt like we needed to show you some really cool stuff from Blade Show. So there you have it. I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, carry on.
Are you done?
Done with what?
You're over here flipping your ballast song, dude. I'm like trying to edit a video, and you're here just...
Well, trying to not cut my hand off.
Yeah?
So far, I'm doing all right.
All right, well, what do you got there?
So this is the last thing. Well, not the last thing, but forgot to talk about this. So this is a ballast song, obviously. My first ballast song, other than like a little mini bally from PDW. The story here is that Brandon Baker, who works for Will Hirsch here on YouTube, brought this to me because one of Will Hirsch's Patreon supporters is also a fan of the Best of EDC, and he knows that I'm not into valleys. So this guy, disquieted collector, reached out to them and told them that he would like to give me a valley. And he said I have 15 to choose from, and he let Brandon choose one that he thought I would like, and what he chose was this Machine Wise Sasori, because he knows that I like Machine Wise for the Sonora. Very, very cool. I don't know if I'm going to get into valleys, but it is kind of addicting.
Dude, it's kind of fun, isn't
just
it?
like sitting here and just flipping it around. I am 100% going to lose a finger with this, though.
Well,
it's my first ever valley, and I'm like, I've caught it a couple times where I'm like this. So
yeah. I mean, for somebody who's afraid of cutting their finger, you're kind of going hard right now.
Am I?
Like, you're not even afraid. Yeah, I'd handle that with way more grace.
I mean, if your hand's always on the back of the blade, you're okay.
Yeah.
But that's a really very, very nice gesture, so thank you very much.
Should we destroy it?
Maybe not this one. Let's do like a Squid Industries or something. I don't know. They got those huge.
Should we destroy
Lucas? Let's torture test one of those like 20-inch valleys.
Oh man, this kind of smells like a collab. You know, we'll see what happens.
I don't know. Before I cut my finger off, I'm putting it back in the box.